Hey there everyone, Nubkeks here, and welcome back to our Learning the Meta series, or Learning the Off-Meta Sometimes series, for Heroes of the Storm, where we jump into Unranked Draft. We pick up a hero that I haven't been playing much in Hero League and take him for a spin, and learn what we can about them, get insights into their playstyle, their talent builds, their strong maps, and basically how to play them. In today's video, you can see I'm investigating all the heroes, considering what I'm going to play. We are going to be picking up Gul'dan in this particular one on Dragon Shire. Unlike some of the other heroes that we've been playing who are a bit more off meta, a bit more niche, I think Gul'dan is in a very strong spot at the moment, particularly at high level play. He's fairly difficult to play, I think, compared to maybe some of the other heroes. So he has, I kind of noticed this actually, glancing at this stuff, is that he's much higher win rates at the higher leagues than he does at the lower leagues, like substantially higher. But anyway, he is a powerful, sustained AoE damage dealer. He churns out just a consistent, high amount of damage. He brings incredibly good wave clear, and he's pretty tanky as well for a ranged damage dealer. So he brings quite a lot of strengths. Now, his weaknesses are that he is immobile, and his single target damage is not that good. I think one of the big, actually, before I talk about the maps and the talent builds and stuff like that, I think one of the big misconceptions that people have about Gul'dan is that he is a mage, in the same way that, well, let's say Jaina on the enemy team is a mage. He's not. So the thing is, right, you got burst mages. Burst mages are like Jaina, like Li Ming, like Kel'Thas, Chromie. They're heroes that do ability damage and they do big burst damage, right? So we got these two dichotomies in Heroes of the Storm. You got heroes that do ability damage versus basic attack damage. So let's say, for example, on the enemy team, we've got Jaina does a lot of ability damage, whereas Illidan does a lot of basic attack damage. Whereas Jaina does not do much basic attack damage and Illidan does not do that much ability damage. Then you also have another dichotomy, which is burst damage versus sustained damage. So, I mean, Jaina and Illidan, another two very good examples. So Illidan, he doesn't do a big burst of damage, but instead he does this very, very consistent, sustained output of damage over the course of the fight. Jaina, in comparison, tends to do a big chunk of burst. She does this amazing blow up in one go. You know, she lands like a ring of frost. She lands a cone of cold of vulnerability, a blizzard on top of it, and throws a frostbolt through the middle of them, and kabloom! You could even like 100 to 0 a couple of heroes at once. It can be insane. Huge burst damage. Gul'dan, though, is like in a different spot. And I think one of the mistakes people make is that they pick Gul'dan in sort of situation, or then people panic when they're drafting with him and they pick heroes that don't actually combo well with him because they think of him as Jaina. They go, oh, he does ability damage, and then they pick him into a burst damage spot. That's not true at all. Instead, Gul'dan, he does ability damage, but his damage is also sustained. It's not burst. It's this steady, sustained damage throughout the team fight. So that can be a problem sometimes, I think, with people drafting him, is that they'll go, oh, well, he's a mage. Well, let's pick some sustained damage. And they'll pick something like Raynor, and then suddenly you've got this team which does a lot of sustained damage, but doesn't have any burst. And then your team could just be caught out of position, bursted down, and you could be killed, something like that. They'll just like neglect to pick a burst damage because they're scared of that, or they'll pick, again, a lot of basic attack type heroes tend to be sustained, of course, so they'll over invest in sustain as opposed to not having any burst, and so on and so forth. You can see in this game, actually, we're quite a sustained team. We got two very interesting team comps going on here. I actually really like the team comps for both teams. So on our side, we've got Gul'dan bringing a lot of wave clear. We have Oriel then backing us up. The amount of damage that we do, and because it's very sustained damage as well with Gul'dan, we're going to be providing a lot of energy to Oriel, going to help her heal an awful lot. And we've got Sergeant Hammer as well. Now we've got this big beefy front line to try to protect us, to help myself and Sergeant Hammer move in and get a lot of damage down. That's with the Haka and Chen. We've got a lot of wave clear, and we can kind of push in aggressively with Sergeant Hammer and help her just start taking out these structures as the enemy team has to fight through a Chen and a Haka with Gul'dan just throwing this AoE damage from just behind them, and then Oriel with tons of energy healing them up. Pretty cool. The enemy team, though, has got a nice build themselves. They pick up the Stitches, which is very good against Gul'dan and Sergeant Hammer. Can land hooks on them, and we will probably just die. They have an Illidan, actually, to dive in between us. They got Zarya to try to help out the Illidan. Malfurion to combo with the Stitches as well, provide a lot of sustained healing. We got a lot of sustained damage, so that sustained healing of Melt's going to be pretty good. Then we got Jaina for us to worry about too. So they've got some pretty good wave clear too. I like it. Both teams have like a pretty legit sort of build. Missed my Q there on the Jaina, but she does go down in the end, getting some damage down on the Illidan as well. And yeah, we'll see how things go. One thing I will say for our team is that we have, on the whole, I would say better lanes. Their team doesn't quite have anyone that can compete that well with Chen. I mean, Illidan's okay, but they don't have anyone that's great against Chen in the solo lane. So that's something to bear in mind. I'm just kind of clearing out this stuff and getting XP for our team. You can see, even though Dahaka dies, we are half a level ahead in terms of experience at this point because I've been soaking. I'm going to come up to the top lane as well then, seeing as our teammates have kind of vamoosed, getting some damage down on the Jaina. She does hit me with her Frostbolt. That's okay. We're just going to start draining life off of her. And even though she hits me with another Frostbolt, she's going to run out of life first. She's going to tap the well, almost definitely. So we're going to pop our trait there. Finish off that wave. And then go tap our own well. And yeah, be in a healthy enough position to start contesting this shrine. Gul'dan, he's okay as a solo laner. He's not great. He's not great. He's okay. I think you're super vulnerable to being ganked. I mean, you got nice sustain, but that's only part of the battle. It wasn't particularly good aim on those abilities. That's something I was learning throughout this game, because I'm not a Gul'dan player, but I have a pretty good idea for how to play him after seeing other people do so. And focus on the Jane. Unfortunately, gets just out of range before we're able to kill her. However, she will be out of the fight. She has to Hearthstone at this point. She's already tapped her well. She's got like 2 HP or something. So unfortunate we don't get the kill, but it's still a big win for us because she is taken out of the game for a little while. Unfortunately, our teammates do die. A couple people die in the bottom lane. It looks like we got a return kill on the Malfurion, so that's pretty good. Let's talk about my talents. Level 1, went for Echoed Corruption. This is, we have to hit enemy heroes 40 times with our E. You can see we haven't made much good progress on this yet. Doesn't do anything until you've hit 40 heroes, but once you hit 40 heroes, your corruption will then fire backwards, which is pretty nice. There you go. You can see we actually got 2 hits on the Illidan, which is really nice. There's a big chunk of damage to him. Can't complain about that. This will get easier to stack as we go further in the game. Illidan is trying to take us out. I think he's going to regret that as we finish him off with a Q. Illidan not picking a very good fight there and paying a pretty big price for it. Gonna die, give us some nice XP and help us secure that top shrine, which is pretty good. Then we can just return to the wave, start healing up off the wave, getting more XP for our team and beginning to push in right here. Echo Corruption, yeah, basically when you hit enemy heroes 40 times, it will then return, doubling the value of your corruption in the team fights, making it much harder for the enemy to deal with, giving you nice zone control. It's just a really useful talent overall, and the most common one you're going to see picked. Level 4, I went for Consume Soul. We're going to be able to instantly kill an enemy minion to heal. It has a 30-second cooldown, and it does have 2 charges. But this will give us a big chunk of healing whenever we get an enemy minion, which is pretty good. It's just going to help us sustain through the lane. We can obviously, there you go. You see we use it right there. Suck a lot of life out of the enemy minion. Not too bad. Just helps us stay alive in these fights, and we can obviously use that health with our trait to generate more and more mana. Gonna be pretty good on a map like Dragon Shire. Actually missing the well. Gonna be pretty good on a map like this to try to sustain through it. Level 7 then, finishing off this initial half of the talent build with Bound by Shadow. Each enemy we hit with Fell Flame, which is our Q, will reduce the cooldown of Corruption by 1 second. This is gonna help us get way more value out of Corruption, because every time we hit a hero with our Q, reduce the cooldown of that. It's gonna, number 1, help us stack the quest sooner, and then number 2, when we do finish the quest, it's gonna help us get even more value out of Corruption. We're gonna be dealing tons of damage with the dot Corruption applies in these team fights later in the game. Yeah, it's gonna be basically our main source of damage. So there you go. It's I think it's a nice little talent build. It's got a lot of little synergies between itself, and does open up some further synergies later on into the draft right here. I was kind of curious actually, taking a quick little look at his other talent options at different levels. At the moment, we're just kind of soloing against this Zarya. We don't have a healing fountain anytime soon, and we are running fairly low on resources, so we do need to be a little bit careful. Just trying to keep control of this bottom shrine for as long as possible, basically, is the name of the game. Thank you, Zarya, actually walking into that corruption, helping me stack it up a bit more. But yeah, the longer we can hold this, unfortunately Illidan does appear, so don't want to stay there any much longer than we have to. Suck some life off of Illidan. I'm going to try get some corruption stacks off these guys. Okay, we actually get a couple of stacks. One more stack off the Zarya. But we're in a tough spot because we've got no mana, no life. And if we do stand still to drain life, we are making ourselves an easy target for Zarya with her Q ability right there. Baiting the Zarya in with low health, probably should have used our Consume Soul, our #1 ability right there, to kill some of those minions and get some health back. But good rotation from our team. We suck the life out of a couple of these minions, drain life then one of the ones on the back, and we're back to nearly full health. We can start popping our trait now to get our mana back and continue on with this fight. But yeah, probably should have hit those minions earlier on to make it even more effective bait. But oh well, we do have our Horrify heroic ready at this point, which is Fear. I was hoping to catch Illidan and Jaina. Unfortunately, we only hit the Jaina, which gets her out of the fight, which is useful. But not quite the Horrify I was aiming for. What this does, it 80-second cooldown. Does a short delay, so it can be a bit difficult to hit, but it will fear heroes in the area, in this circular area, for 2 seconds. So they'll run away from the center point of the circle. So ideally, there's a few different uses for this. Nice double kill by our team, very nice. There's a few uses for this, right? In this particular game especially, I think the ideal use for us would be if we could catch like Illidan on one side of it and then the Malfurion and the Jaina on the other side, so that we would send Malfurion and Jaina away from the fight and then send Illidan into us, allowing us to focus Illidan down in that sort of 2 seconds where he's sort of stunned basically because he can't actually you know, hit us, activate his abilities, or dodge out of the way of things. That would be ideal. We could also use it to zone out the backline. We could also use it to sort of stun the Illidan. A few different options for us to use right here. I think I'm gonna die at this point. Oriel is picking up the shrine instead. She did back off the shrine. I think she should really take it, and then our teammates could grab that. I'm not sure what she's doing. That's unfortunate. If Oriel had gone just and grabbed that shrine, we would have been able to grab the Dragonite right there. So she was kind of humming and hawing about whether she should come and save me. She was too late to do so, though. And then she was humming and hawing about whether she needed to run away. And it became kind of awkward, but nice play by our teammates with a good rotation around. They get 2 kills to Haka, and a little bit of trouble right here, though. Oriel heals him while he's burrowed, which doesn't work, unfortunately, but catches him with a Crystal Aegis as he comes out. They finish off the tower as well, and chase off the enemy team Stitches, so Dahaka does make it out alive. And you can see just the amount of wave clear that Gul'dan brings is quite substantial. And that will translate as well into the maps that he is going to be effective on. Considering that he is actually quite strong at the moment, there's a large number of maps that he's strong on. It kind of stands out to me. The last few heroes we've looked at, there's a pretty good Horrify on the Jaina, but a nice cleanse from Malfurion. Not enough to save her, though, and she does go down. This is another nice spot for Corruption, going through 2 members of the enemy team, I believe, right there, and getting some nice damage down. Nice dive by Chen, and nice stun by the Oriel. That is their team taken out. 3 kills for us. Not too shabby. We do lose Sergeant Hammer because of a nice hook and I believe Gorge from Stitches. Maybe it's just a Gorge. There's certainly nothing to complain about. Pretty good for us. We're just going to start pushing down this fort. Illidan does arrive. Hello, friend Illidan. Again, this is a really nice spot for us in terms of our corruption. If they keep going through this choke point between the tower and that top fort, it's going to work out pretty well. Jaina is looking for a bit of an engage here, trying to get some damage down. We fire the corruption through, hitting the Jaina and hitting the minion wave, doing a little bit of damage to that as well. Sounds like Illidan was going for the hunt there, I think. Or else it was just some funny Gul'dan sounds. Anyway, yeah, going back to the maps, there are 6 maps where he's really good, 2 maps where he's good, and then 3 maps where he's actually doing not so great. One of those is a surprise. So he has at Masters level play, he has between a 62% win rate and a 57% win rate on 6 maps. This is a big fight, by the way. We're just looking to try to get our Q through as many people as possible. Try to get our corruption through as many people as possible. Really nice for us. 3 kills. That's a huge deal. We're 3 levels up as well. Gonna get this Dragonite. Gonna be 16 to level 13. Pretty huge advantage. Can't complain about that at all. Really, really good for us. Yeah, so the maps. Towers of Doom was actually the top one, followed by Warhead Junction, Cursed Hollow, Blackheart's Bay, Sky Temple, and Braxis Holdout. Now, the Braxis Holdout has by far the most games played on it as well. So that's definitely one to watch out for Gul'dan on. Then the 2 maps that he's fairly successful on with like 54% win rates are Dragon Shire and Infernal Shrines. We're playing on Dragon Shire here. And then Tomb of the Spider Queen, which I'd actually expect him to be very good on. He only has a 52.7% win rate on, which is a bit surprising to me. And then Garden of Terror, Battlefield of Eternity, he doesn't do that well on at all. He's got a sub 50% win rate on those, which is very poor for Masters, so definitely don't pick him on those. Again, looking at Gul'dan's strengths, he excels at wave clear. He's got a lot of, again, sustained AoE damage, so he excels at wave clear, he excels at any maps like that, so I'm kind of surprised a little bit by Terror to do more Head Junction and Cursed Hollow. That's something we learned there. But certainly in Dragon Shire, Brax's Holdout, Tomb of Spider Queen, Infernal Shrines, he brings a lot of wave clear and wave control to those particular maps. I think that's what he's good at. He should be pretty good on those, so I feel pretty comfortable picking him there. Certainly you have to be concerned, because you are an mobile hero, that you don't pick yourself into a very bad situation. But yeah. You see here we're trying to just survive as long as possible, using our Drain Life to survive as well, using our Consume Soul to suck a bit of life out of these minions. We do die, but we do get nice core damage. The enemy team's core is down to 65% health. We still have all of our forts up. Illidan does take out Tahaka with a nice hunt, and trying to heal up off this catapult before turning on to Chen. Chen is probably going to die as well. Don't see him getting out of this one, unfortunately. Rest in pieces, Chen. He delayed them for a little bit. But the team does go down. There's no Dragon Knight though for the enemy team to grab. They could grab some Merc Camps, they could push some waves. I don't think their Zarya is playing very well. She was pushing that top lane while we were on the core. They could have come out of that much healthier, in a much better spot if she'd actually returned home to base. Probably a little bit tilted, it seems like. But yeah, there you go. So yeah, I would generally expect Gul'dan to excel on any maps where you've got like AoE objectives. So Infernal Shrines you should be okay at, because you can clear the shrines with the AoE. Should be okay there. But I expect him to be quite strong at Brax's Holdout, where your wave clear is very important. He should be good at Tomb of the Spider Queen, where wave clear is very important. But yeah, basically any map where you can rotate with your team, get a lot of wave clear, and in compositions where you're going to be safe and going to be able to get that consistent damage out, you should have a pretty good time. Nice hook by the Stitches. They're going to come in here and try to get a big... They're very clumped up for a Horrify. Unfortunately, Illidan and Jaina do get on top of us. Get the Horrify down on the Illidan. We actually survived. We interrupted him in the middle of casting the hunt on us. We're being chased down by this Zarya, who's got a lot of energy, hitting us with multiple Qs. He's getting some lag as well. Just visual graphical lag. A big expulsion zone coming out from Zarya right on top of the gates. Does get us out. Illidan going for a hunt. It comes off that short 10-second cooldown it gets when it is interrupted. He hunts in on the Chen, but Chen popping Storm, Earth and Fire does get to activate that before Illidan can land, and this fight has turned in our favor. Jaina going down, Chen hunting some people down. In the top lane we do have a bruiser camp pushing in, and Tahaka has secured that top shrine and is going to burrow down to the bottom one as well. That team fight started off pretty bad for us, but went okay in the end. It was very close to me dying there from the flank by the Illidan, and the Ring of Frost from the Jaina. Obviously very important, crucial in fact, to sidestep the Ring of Frost from the Jaina. Do not get hit by that if you can avoid it at all costs in most circumstances. We managed to do that, and then pretty lucky honestly with the timing of our Horrify, and good healing from the Oriel, and we just about made it out okay. That was a pretty close fight. Stitches goes for a hook, didn't quite aim it correctly. We are on the core right now. This is only a 14-minute Dragon Knight, but should still be pretty powerful. Just backing up here as the enemy team is starting to dive us, healing off this Illidan. We have Horrify coming up as well, but we don't even get to use it. We get gorged. We don't even get to finish the gorge animation though, as our team does pick off the core. The two tanks and the Dragon Knight, leaving myself and I think it was Oriel to our fate, as they just go and say, you know what, you guys can die. We're going to win the game. Not a big deal. Shen picking up MVP, I think that's pretty justified. He played very well. I think everyone on our team played pretty well in this particular game. I think everyone played pretty well, probably except the Zarya, who seemed to get tilted and just kind of do some rather silly things. But anyway, there you go. There are the stats. As you can see, huge damage from us on the Gul'dan Siege Master as well. I mean, bear in mind that was not us in that late game Dragon Knight, which does pad your stats an awful lot. That was just purely from just the amount of damage Gul'dan does. His damage output is insanely high. The last couple of talents I picked up, by the way, didn't talk about them in the game, but I picked up Fell Armor this time at level 13. Whenever we hit an enemy hero with Fell Flame, our Q ability, it gives us a spell shield, reducing ability damage by 40% for 2.5 seconds. I think that's just, I figured it'd be pretty useful to survive against the Illidan and the Jaina, and just give us a nice sort of sustained survivability and help us be a bit more aggressive in terms of our positioning. The most popular pick, this is, by the way, overall the most popular build. I personally, though, favor Fell Flame. The most standard talent at that particular level, though, is of course Healthstone, which has a 60-second cooldown. You can activate to restore 25% of your max health. It's pretty good. I know, I just personally, I love Fell Armor if they've got a lot of ability damage. Healthstone, solid choice as well. So yeah, I think they're perfectly fine. Really interesting, actually, Harvest Life, which is an upgrade for your Drain Life, making it heal 50% more health when used on enemy heroes, actually has the highest win rate by a good chunk at this talent tier. So again, that might be just a bit of a fluke with a low number of games played in the last week. I'm not sure. You know what? Tell you what, guys. Stay tuned for a little bit. We're going to crank it up to the last 3 weeks. We're going to see. No, it's still a pretty high win rate even after those. That's pretty interesting. That's pretty interesting. So bear in mind that the talent I actually picked is looks like it is the lowest win rate by a tiny bit on this particular tier, that Fell Armor. But I do think it's really good. I personally like it a lot. But obviously depends a bit on the team compositions. Healthstone is your safe go-to talent that should work in pretty much every circumstance. So bear that in mind. Level 16 then picked up Ruinous Affliction. So our Corruption will do additional damage on impact, and if an enemy gets hit by 3 strikes of Corruption, the 3rd strike will do a massive chunk of bonus damage. This combos amazingly well with your Echoed Corruption quest at level 1. If you don't have Echoed Corruption, it's very difficult to actually hit an enemy with 3 stacks of Corruption, so you're pretty much never going to trigger the actual 3rd strike doing big bonus damage from that level 16 talent. However, it does also include the Echo Corruption things in it, so now you have 6 chances to hit an enemy hero and to trigger that bonus damage, so it will happen much more often. And of course then even just the 3 return strikes from Echo Corruption will trigger just the base Ruinous Affliction bonus damage as well. So yeah, it's just a really great talent, which is enabled by that Echoed Corruption quest at level 1. I think there's maybe something to be said for a Q build as well, which would be Pursuit of Flame at level 1, which you can, it's a quest for your Q, which will increase the radius of your Q when you finish it, and it's actually fairly noticeable, it's fairly substantial. And then picking up Rampant Hellfire at level 16, which is basically stacks up the damage of your Q as you hit heroes. You can stack it up to 5 times. You can do up to 40% bonus damage with your Q when that's fully stacked. So that really does as well increase your kind of sustained damage throughout the team fight. I think both of those are pretty good options. So yeah, you do have the E build, the Echoed Corruption, Ruinous Affliction build. I do like as well then the Pursuit of Flame into Rampant Hellfire build. I think that's actually better than people probably expect it to be. Reign of Destruction, actually people might ask this at level 10, pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Horrify at high level anyway is much better. Then I do like to pick up Haunt at level 20. Didn't get that far in this game, but I am a big fan of Haunt, which increases the duration of Horrify by 1 second, making it a 3-second stun basically, which is really powerful. And it also makes enemies vulnerable. They take 25% increased damage, so it becomes just an amazing tool for getting picks. I think it's really effective at that point. And yeah, there you go, guys. That is Gul'dan. Heroes that obviously work well with Gul'dan, I think probably like a good frontline heroes, or heroes that can kind of distract or zone off for Gul'dan, are going to be pretty good. So I mean, you could have like maybe another melee assassin like the Butcher or Thrall. You know, Thrall with that Earthquake really making it hard for other heroes to get onto Gul'dan and making it easy for Gul'dan to land his abilities. The Butcher obviously absorbing a lot of the enemy team's attention. Double warrior comps are going to work pretty well. Double support comps are not going to work as well with Gul'dan, but in terms of supports, Oriel will obviously combo very nicely with him because he does generate so much energy for her. That should be a pretty powerful combo. Zarya might work actually pretty well with Gul'dan, kind of providing an extra protection for him. Kerrigan could work pretty well. And yeah, there you go. I mean, he is like your sustained ranged damage dealer, so you might want to pick up some burst damage to combo there too. Something like Jaina or Li Ming could work pretty well with him. Again, don't be distracted by the fact that they both use magic damage. it's much more important to focus on the fact that one is sustained and one is burst. Now, with Jaina, you're going very hard in the AoE, very ham on that. Your single target focus damage is going to be fairly weak, but it might still work out. I don't know. Just throwing some ideas out there for you. Anyway, that was Gul'dan. Powerful AoE, sustained damage dealer, great wave clear, and very powerful on really a multitude of maps. Actually, you know what? I'll tell you, the bad maps, the maps you really don't want to pick him on, apparently, are Garden of Terror and Battlefield of Eternity. I think that makes a fair amount of sense. In both of those maps, you can be caught out of position relatively easily, and then, like, let's say Battlefield, obviously not very good at focusing down the Immortal. His single target isn't amazing. It's the AoE damage that Gul'dan brings that is so strong. So yeah, he wouldn't be as good on Battlefield. And I suppose Garden of Terror, you have a similar thing happening with the big Garden Shamblers, and then also being a bit vulnerable to being flanked and taken out. Even though wave clear is nice on that map, I don't know, that's something to consider. But yeah, there you go, guys. Very powerful hero. I suppose if you want like one map to definitely try him out on, Brax's Holdout is probably your go-to, where you're very safe from being flanked because it tends to be very much a strict 2-lane split up, very difficult to rotate between those lanes, and then your AoE wave clear getting tons of value against the Zerg swarms, and then that sustained pressure you can put on the lanes is going to just wreak havoc while you're fighting over those control points. Just that constant damage output and constant self-healing you can do is really going to be effective there. So yeah, if you want to give him a spin anywhere, Brax's Holdout, probably the go-to. Showed you how to play him here in this game on Dragon Shire, where he's also going to be good. Difficult to go wrong with him though. Give it a thumbs up, guys, if you like the video. I'll see you all next time for more Here's the Storm. Bye bye.